Hello and welcome to part 2 of this Selmer Treble Bass 50SV. If you remember, in part 1 we did a bit of an assessment on this amplifier to see what it needed to get it back to full working order. It did have a slight intermittent fault on it, and if I just lift this out, now I didn't spot that earlier, but I think we can safely say that that's gone to air, and that's probably why we got that problem with it cutting in and out, and then it finally cut out altogether. So that's been like that for a long time. So that's toast, that's gone to air, and that's had it. Now remove that. Let's have a look what other tubes we've got in here. They're all Mullards. This amp's obviously pretty much original. The output tubes under there are also Mullards. So the first thing we're going to do is take those out, so we don't want them getting damaged. Whilst I really like these shrouds, they're a great, you can see here, they're a great idea. We always try to pull that up, because as the valve lets go from the socket, if you're not careful, you bang it on the top of the shroud. You'd be really careful with those, although they are a little rattly inside. You usually find they are when they've got to that age, because this has been carried around so much. Right, so what are we actually going to change in this amplifier then? These two caps, 3232, and, or are they a single 32? No, they are 3232, so they're dual caps in there. And then we've got 50 plus 50. Let me just check those over. Those might be single. Do you know, I've done enough of these, I should know. So yes, these are single 50/50s there. So we've got those to change, and they look very sick, as we saw in part 1. You can see that one's got gumption coming out of it. Look to the side of it there, you can see somebody's changed a couple of resistors there, so someone obviously had been in here. Now, I actually did a full restore on one of these. I'll leave a link in the description. That one I really went to town on. This one, we did test these caps, but only at low voltage, so we'll check these again, but we are going to leave those. We'll change the diodes. The diodes I always change, they're 50 years old. We'll change the diode on the bias, and we'll change the resistors on the bias, and we'll change the bias capacitor. There's a capacitor up there that looks a bit grimy, so we'll have over there, we'll have a look at him. What else? And I think that's about it, you know, obviously. Now there's another thing with these, now another thing with these amplifiers, and I can't remember whether I changed this on the one I did the full restore on, but they have a shared screen resistor there, and I can't remember whether I actually put separate ones on there, because it really should have separate ones on. Screen resistors should always be close to the valve socket as possible, and that one obviously it's not, it's sharing it. So that's something we need to look at. These bypass capacitors, there's 3 of those need to be changed as well, so we're going to look at those, get those changed. Cable, that's good and solid, so we'll leave that. Everything else on the back. Condition of the fuse socket, sorry, condition of the fuse holders looks good, so we'll leave those. He's in, I think, is that turning, or is that just, yeah, that's in need of some gumption. That one. Yes, oh, that one's in need of some gumption as well. So those need a bit of attention. Let's hope that they're not tatered, otherwise we should be fitting some new parts. So yes, I think that's basically what we're going to do with this amp. This, I mean, it needs a fair bit of work, but it's not like it needs every component changing, or most of the components. Hopefully most of these resistors will be in tolerance. Right, we've got these big caps in, and we've only used 2 of them, and the reason for that, because they were actually 4 in, if you remember, you can see the holes there for the others, is these are dual hundreds, so it's 100 plus 100 wide in series down to 50 microfarad. So the others were singles. In fact, we'll have a look at one. There you go. You can see, and you can also see he's a bit sick. Just putting a light on. You can also see he's very sick, and all the others weren't much better. So yes, they are toast. They're over. Measured the resistor there going on to board feed the preamp stages. 27 ohm. Try again. Third time lucky. 27k, and that measured 27.1, so that's not drifted at all. And there we go. So I put new diodes in there as well, so we've got those in there, and we're going to fire this up now and just check all this works correct, and then we're going to move on to the 32 microfarads that we've got over there, and then we've got this to change as well on the bias. As I said, this amp didn't work very well, and then I noticed that valve that had gone to air, so I've put another tube in. So we're going to run it up and see what results we have. Just started to run a bit of power into this now. So I've rewired this pilot light slightly because it was on those 2 caps that we don't need. It was connected with those. Let's just see if we're conducting. Yes, we are, and I can hear sound. Yep, we have sound. Just spotted a star washer in there. Just hang on a minute, I'm just going to shut it down. Just let that drain. You can't see that off camera, but there's a meter there. You can perhaps see it. Nope, you perhaps see it now. Just wait for that to drain off before I reach over those caps. That should be enough. Just remove that and we'll go again, because that's dangerous. While I've spotted it, so I'll remove it straight away, because you think, oh, I'll just leave that there, you'll end up forgetting it, and then we're rolling about inside if you don't see it again. I do normally check before I put amps together, but you can miss things. So removed him. That's the second channel. So he's a little bit dusty. But this amp is working now. It was intermittent, which was obviously that tube that was causing that. I think that's a valve. I think that's a valve seat that's causing that. I'll just alter this camera. Right, let's take it up a bit more. It's about 180 volts now we've got on there. You can see you perhaps just about see the plate voltage going up there. Yes, so that channel's a bit sick. It needs some gumption in its pots, and it needs the seats, valve sockets cleaning, sorry. Valve seats, valve sockets. Now these dual capacitors are 500 volts working on each side, so wide in series they're 1000 volts. The others were 350, wide in series 700 volts. So we've got plenty of leeway on those. And now we're just going to go up to full power. There we go. 447 we've got on there. 447 on the plate voltage. So this amp as well has got no bias preset pot on it. I have to be honest, I'm not really a lover of bias preset pots, because if you listen to these pots and how much dust they've got in them, and if it gets inside the bias preset pot and causes the bias to malfunction, the tubes go up. It fries them if you lose the bias on them. It's always awkward to balance up bias using resistors to get it correct, but if you can, it's always a better idea. But obviously a bias preset does make it easy to set the bias. Right, I think somebody missed a trick here. So I've just been looking at these. I've took these two plate resistors out, which went from these two turrets here over to the, get something to point with. I've lost that pen now. Well, that's no surprise, is it? Everybody loses pens. Oh, it's there. So these two turrets here for the plate resistors, one for each side of the 1287, and they're going down to here, both of them. Now this turret, we've got two wires in there, and then we had the blue wire in there, and then we had the resistors in there. So we've got 2, 3, 4, we've got 5 items in there. There's a blank turret here, just sat doing nothing. So if I put that wire in there, and then put a wire from there to there, then I've got 3 wires in there. And then if I put the resistors into there, I've got 3 wires in there. And that works. So I don't understand. I've just cleaned that, by the way, because it got a bit of patina on it because it's never been used. Just sat there doing nothing. So these were laid across the top, and these were laid across the top, and you can see they've been burnt and there's solder on it there. So we're going to look at cleaning that up, or even changing that wire if we can't make it look nice, because I don't want anybody thinking I've done it. That won't do. And we've got the, you can see now we're in close. As if we go into this one, we can get really, now we can get really down into that. You can just see again what we're, and you can see there's only, whether there's one underneath there, but these will be laid across, and you can see that's clearly just been laid across the and you can see the other 220k there which is a plate resistor that they've not changed, and you can see that they're all in the eyelet. So there's no excuses there for that. It's just bad workmanship, just idleness, really. That's a nice job. That's a dreadful job. So we're going to put that back and make it look right. So there we are. We've got the 220Ks in there. We've cleaned that wire up, got all the solder off it, and you can see now from there, there's the pen again. We've got the 220 resistors, 220Ks. They're going into there now, and I've just put a jumper across there, and we're into there, and that's all neat. Right, we've done a bit more. So we've got the second lot in there. We've got another drop-in resistor, another plate resistor there. So we've moved over to the phase inverter. Just put a bit of light on in there so we can see better. So we've just got the phase inverter over there now we're working on. So the 82k resistor that was in here was way over, so we swapped that. 100k, and I'm swapping these two coupling capacitors because the being on the output tubes, I thought I'd just put a couple of new ones in there. It's something I tend to do. Yes, that doesn't look very clever, does it? So I'm just working my way through this amp now. I've cleaned all the tube sockets, and well, I've not cleaned the output tube sockets, but I've done all the preamp stuff, working my way through, and these are in a bit of a state, as we can see. So we need to take this switch out, clean all the contacts, and then we need to sort these out. I don't know how far gone they are, but they need sorting. There's another one on the bottom there, which yes, so we need to get onto that, don't we? That does not look good at all. Right, we've given those a good clean up. Now we need to address these spade connectors, which are in a bit of a state. Right, we've got those sorted, so we put some new spade terminals on, and I've soldered those on. I don't like crimping them. And then we've put that over there just so if anybody's in here changing tubes, they won't get a nasty bang, because that's the HT. Right, just having a look at what we've done on this board. Find a pointer, there we go. So I've changed the plate resistors on the phase inverter. I've changed the coupling caps on here as well, because we've got some Mullard L34s in this. So I thought we'd have some new coupling caps. We've got a new cap there for the oscillation. That one looked a bit tired that came out. And plate resistor, tidied up this mess that were left. Plate resistor there, 2 plate resistors, have done all of that. Done the bias over here, you can see. Changed the coupling capacitors. Yes, I know the radials, that's all I had, and they're okay on this. So we've done that. So, and also if we look over here into the, just about get the camera to stretch over, we've got the separate screen resistors now on there. I've sorted all that out, replaced that very burnt wire that we'd got there. So we're all good to go now. The only thing we've got to do now is these 2 capacitors here, and that, I think, is that should be about it. Although I keep finding things, like I found that switch which wasn't right, which reminds me, I think we'll have a look at the switch here as well. Let's just make sure the plug's out before we do anything, although it's on the variac. But anyway, right, let's have a look. Sorry, you can't see that, can you? There we go. So let's have a look at these, and just bring this amp back towards that forward. Sorry. Right, now you can see them. Let's just have a look what we've got here. Oh dear, and they've been soldered on. Look at that, my days. So this obviously had spade terminals, and they've taken them off, bird pooed soldered them, and then put the plastic terminals back on. Dearie me. So we need to, I think I just need to address that, don't I? Right, sorry, I can't help laughing. It's just the fact that they've put these back on there, and then when I expected to find the spade terminals, and then I find that. Never mind, we can sort that out. Right, so we've got, this is live, and that just fell off, and this is neutral return, which is going through the fuse on this, so we're going to have to change it. That also fell off. So that was hanging on by the thread, so we're gonna have to swap all this round. So we've got live coming in, we need live going to the fuse, through the transformer, back out the transformer, and back to here. Right, so we've got this switch out. Actually, I had to straighten one of the pins. One of the pins were bent. Look at the state of that, my days. Right, so I'm afraid one of the pins, that was the one that was bent when I took it out, and obviously straightening it up has weakened it even more. Try to clean that, that's just a mess. But fortunately, and very fortunately, I don't know if you remember this, but I bought a front plate off eBay with both switches on, and we've got another one, and that is lucky. Here's the front plate that I bought, and I bought it just for those switches because the standby switch was broken on the other one that I restored last year. So yeah, I've got these knobs. I was wondering whether to put these knobs on here, bruh. I don't think they're a bit far gone. I'll have to have a look at those, but I think they look a bit tatty. I mean, I didn't buy this for the front plate, I just bought it for the switches. It was a tenner. $10. Obviously I've got the pots on there as well, but yes. So luckily we've got a switch. We can get away with that. I'll have to clean that one up a bit, but at least we've got a switch. Right, there we go. We've got that switch in, and you can see there now we've got all that done. Redone the ground, swapped it round on the fuse. Now you can just about see that over there. So that's all been swapped round. So now the fuse is going through the live and not the neutral. So the only thing left to do now is those capacitors in the corner there. Not in the corner, over there. Use this pen. These ones. So that's the last thing. Well, unless I find anything else on this amp. Just keep finding things. I've just found those switches, and we were lucky we had one of those switches without one being broken. So that was good. It's hard to get parts like that now to keep it matching and looking original. So yes, so I'm just going to have a bit of a check round, and then I'm going to start on those caps. Right, we've finally got this amp complete. So we've removed the mullard tubes that were in there because they were rattling like a tin lid, and there was 10 watts dissipation difference between them, so they were no good. This amp has its own fixed bias supply, so we had a 3.9k resistor in there. I've made that value up to 2.7 because we don't have an adjustable trim pot on this. So we've got a couple of electro harmonic CL34s in this, and we've got those biased up nicely. So everything in this amp is finished now. So we'll just have a quick recap of what we've done. So the corroded switch we sorted out, new diodes, new capacitors on the preamp stage, new bias capacitor, new bias diode, and then we changed all the plate resistors on the phase inverter, the cap for oscillation across the phase inverter. We've got 1k screen resistors on there because that had a shared 1500 if you remember, and we've replaced the capacitors on the bypass, the bypass capacitors on the preamp stage. We've done the standby switch as well. We've had a new fuse holder in there on the HT side because that was brittle and cracked. Anything else, we've put a preamp tube in it as well because one of those had gone to air. Pretty much gone through this amp. We've cleaned all the parts, cleaned all the sockets, the tube sockets, and this is ready for a run up and a listen now, I think. Right, we've got this ready for a demo. So it's just a couple of things. I realised this amp had got no grid stoppers on the output tubes, so I've dropped a couple of 5.6Ks on there, and also another one of the mullard preamp tubes was faulty. The heaters were intermittent on it. This amp had fired up fine on the bench, and by the time I'd got it back into its case, one of the channels was down. So I know I was having a look, and then I wriggled the tube and suddenly it lit up, and then it run, and then a bit later I switched it on again and it was off again. So I removed it, cleaned the pins, put it in, it was still the same, cleaned the socket again, still the same. So I put another tube in, and it's fine now. So we'll have a listen. That's the treble channel, which is called the normal channel on here. When these amps were made years ago, treble and bass, obviously the idea is that one channel is for bass and one is for guitar. So this channel is the guitar one. Presence works.
I'm a bit stiff with playing last night, and it's Sunday morning now, and it takes the old hands a bit of time to get going. So that's the lead channel. Let's try the other channel. I prefer the bass channel on these. Seems a bit more potent, this channel as well, a bit louder.
and you think how sick sounding that was, and now it just sounds phenomenal. So there we have it. That's the Selmer Treble Bass 50SV. That's the third one of these we've done, and we've got another one to do as well. And the last two I did, they had the reverb on, that it didn't work, and seldom does on these amplifiers. Reverb pan on them is a bit crappy. So this just one built without reverb, but this has the send and return instead. So that'll do it for this one. So thanks for watching, and you all take care, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye bye for now.